heat is absolutely killing me. My brain just keeps going like, how many meters did you do? What kilometer are we on? Look at the watch, look at the watch. Even my hands are swelled up. You know when you're afraid to take the bandage off because you don't know how bad it is? Oh my god. At the start of 2024, I took the first steps towards my dream. Climbing the 7 summits, each continent's highest mountain, from sea level and back to sea level. Every meter up and down. Over the month of January, I hiked 250 kilometers from the Pacific Ocean in Chile to the summit of South America's highest mountain. It's hurricane winds. It is bitterly cold. There was no shortage of setbacks on this trip, including my wife's emergency evacuation by helicopter. In the end, I made the summit. Then hiked the 250 kilometers back to the Pacific Ocean.
Oh my god!
A few days later, I boarded the first of 4 flights to Tanzania to start my 800-kilometer journey to the roof of Africa, Kilimanjaro. I have 4 flights in total to take. It's around 6 a.m. in Madrid, but it is 2 a.m. in Santiago, and that's the time zone that I'm currently on. A little bit tired. Andy! You came to save me. I had an 8-hour stopover in London, and now I'm going back to Heathrow, go to Nairobi. I've been on the road now for 2 days, and I'm beyond exhausted. For the last week, I've been a little bit concerned, to be honest with you, because the 10 days that I'm walking to Kilimanjaro and the 10 days that I'm walking back are completely unsupported. I don't have any crew or anything like that. You don't get shops in a lot of the areas. There's a risk I might not have water. But I had a thought on the flight coming here, and that thought was, what if this is going to be the best trip of your life? And I like that. And I think that that's what we're going to roll with from now on. At the planning stage of this trip, I was excited about trekking through Tanzania alone. But with the lack of sleep accumulated over 4 flights, the scale of what I was about to do started to amplify. And my mind started questioning the decision. Until this moment. You won't believe what I'm looking at right now, out the window. Once I got to the airport, I found a taxi driver who knew a few bus companies that could take me to Tanga, my final destination. So many people, it's crazy.
Yeah. Today is not many people. Today is Sunday. Of tomorrow. Oh.
I was so tired that all of this felt like a dream. Everywhere is full. We stopped at 2 bus stations so far. I think I didn't sleep for 2 days. As long as I get on a bus to Tanga today. After an hour of looking, he found a bus company that had 1 ticket left. I was on my way to Tanga. During my South America trip, I was relying on Google Street View to better understand if I could camp in certain areas. When I planned my Africa trip, however, I could only use a 2D satellite view that didn't allow me to see much. I planned to camp in 6 different locations on the way to Kilimanjaro. But on the bus journey to Tanga, I noticed everything looked either habited or wild. And when a local told me there were crocodiles near areas with water, I knew I had to change my plan. The bus journey took over 8 hours, and when I arrived, I was shattered. But the idea that I could soon lie down horizontally made me happy. Yesterday I got in late, I would say at about 8:30 p.m. here. I have less time in the day over here than I did in South America. So I need to get everything absolutely done by 6 p.m. every single night. One of the big things is the fuel system, because I had to change it from white gas. There's no white gas canisters over here in Tanzania. And I didn't find any kerosene. I never used kerosene or diesel in my life, and I never set the stove to operate that way, but that's what we're gonna have to roll with. Check out my new shoes. So nice and clean. Indian Ocean, the start of a very long journey ahead of me up to the summit of Kilimanjaro and hopefully back down here. I'm gonna walk to Kilimanjaro. Yeah, I'm gonna walk to Kilimanjaro. It must have been like, who is this idiot? The moment I left the sea, I realized how much I stood out. Leaving Tanga felt a bit overwhelming, but soon it calmed down. The heat, however, was there to stay. Leaving Tanga was an experience. Safe to say I stand out a little bit over here. It is such a hot day. 35 degrees. I drank 3 liters of water so far. Sorry, 3.5. Going through it very quickly. It took some time getting used to walking on this road. The motorcycles were riding in the hard shoulder, and some were even carrying huge loads. Diesel is okay. Diesel, yeah. This morning I tried to get gas from the gas station. Well, it was diesel, sorry. Tried to get diesel from a gas station. He didn't give it to me because of health and safety issues, which is hilarious because you could actually get it in Romania. The moment it reached noon, the heat started feeling unbearable. This walk was a completely different monster to the one in South America. It was the humidity that I couldn't handle. I was struggling to catch a full breath of air. During that day, my average heart rate was 135 BPM, with many spikes over 150 BPM. By the end of the day, it left me thinking if I'll be able to handle 9 more days of this. Today was tough. The heat completely got to me. Even my hands are swelled up. So when I arrived here, I had 3 very long travel days. I pushed for it, so I gained a day, because when I planned this, I just made the plan very tight. I have 1 day extra. Initially I was thinking to do that day in Moshi just to rest before the mountain, but now I'm planning to do 11 days instead of 10 walking, so that I hit more villages and more accommodation. This meant that for the whole time I was here, I would have no rest days. I would be walking for 30 days non-stop. Nature's electrolytes. These are all a type of orange tree. It is an orange. Oh my god, there is cloud today. Look at that. Look at that cloud. But even with cloud cover, there was no hiding from the afternoon heat. There was no breeze, and the humidity made it feel like there was no air. The heat is absolutely killing me. From 11, but especially 2, 3, 4, 5, it's just unbearable. In a way, the first 2 days were the hardest. As a coping mechanism, I stopped looking at the picture as a whole and started focusing on what I had to do each day. That blister is on a whole different level. Little did I know that things were about to get even more challenging. Yesterday I started to become increasingly concerned about the heat and if this plan that I made is gonna work out, especially on the 40-kilometer days. And I got into this accommodation yesterday and met a Dutch lady who is cycling from Uganda to South Africa, which is just absolutely crazy. And she said to me, do you know this app called iOverlander? It turns out that people leave reviews here about accommodation that isn't displayed on Google Maps and camp spots and stuff like that. Meeting Erike was a huge turning point for the mission. The app she showed me helped me plan where I'll sleep for the rest of the trip. She also told me the humidity will decrease the closer I get to Moshi. However, my toes are not in a good state. Because of the heat, my feet keep inflaming, and the same shoe size that I normally wear is now too small. And it's just constantly pain. The humidity during the first couple of days had already done damage, and the worst mistake by far was starting in a new pair of shoes that weren't worn in. I started to enjoy the first 10 kilometers in the day before my feet swell up. Once they do, they just press into the edges so hard. The pain didn't concern me as much as the thought that I might not be able to make it to Kilimanjaro. Tanzania is one of the most beautiful places I ever had the fortune of visiting.
These kids are showing me where water is.
And during my whole time there, the people had been nothing but amazing. But I would lie if I said this day wasn't the hardest. I barely scraped by. I wasn't in a good frame of mind. But sometimes it's not about being positive. It's about getting it done. I just got now into the town. This was the hardest day by far. My feet are f***ed, especially one of the toes. I was in so much pain in the last 10-15 kilometers. You know when you're afraid to take the bandage off because you don't know how bad it is? Like if I lost a nail or something. Oh my god. I'm looking forward to walking 32 kilometers tomorrow. That night I discovered that my stove wouldn't function with diesel fuel. Since every evening I was having instant meals, I had to rely on people and places where I stayed to boil water for me. We're now in an area where you meet a group of people called the Maasai, which I learned are part of northern Tanzania and parts of Kenya and have a very distinct way of dressing. As I made my way deeper inland, the mountainous terrain from before started to become flatter, and the lush green vegetation slowly turned dry. The place that I stayed at last night was bug infested. In the local shops I end up finding less and less things. There are no more fruits or vegetables around here. Yesterday, while I was walking, a little young Maasai girl was yelling after me, "Maji, maji, maji," which means water. She didn't have any water. I ended up giving her mine. Life was visibly harder in the drier interior. Food was scarce, and the people here were living on a lot less. So far on the walk this morning, the only thing that I'm thinking about is how grateful I am for my life. I ended up in this super posh place. I came here and asked what the price was, and she told me it was like 17-18 pounds, and I was like, can I boil water here? Oh my god, fire without hassle. I I went to boil water on the stove and didn't even realize that they're kettles. Like, I haven't seen a kettle since I got here. I can have a shower. Oh my god. After yesterday, I am so happy. But the contrast is unreal. Today, the plan is to camp. I have about 36 kilometers to go until a camp spot that I found on Overlander. I had a mixture of excitement and concern about the next 2 days. Didn't see any signs of snakes the whole time I was here. And I'm seeing one now, in the day that I meant to camp. This was the most remote part of the trip. A 50-kilometer section that didn't pass through any villages. It was a barren landscape with one straight road. I'm entering now the town of Makania, which is gonna be the last water stop for the next 24 hours. Road for as long as the eye can see. I think that just happened a few moments ago. This is very, very nice. It's all super flat and clear. You know, I keep reflecting on the first day that I arrived in Tanga. I had such an overwhelming feeling when I started the walk, because everyone was stopping me and saying hello and trying to talk. And they were all friendly, but there were so many people. I was a little bit afraid of the hundreds of villages on the way and how I'm gonna cope with all of that. Initially, when I was walking through, I was like blasting through every village, not stopping. But soon enough, the heat forced me to stop in the villages, because they're the only place that have like good shade and a bench. Within a couple of days, I felt at ease among the people. I felt calm. And what's interesting is that the people didn't change, but my willingness to open up did. And yeah, ever since that point, I just feel calm in this country. How are you? Asante, hapana, kutembea. Asante. Every other person on a motorcycle stops and asks, are you okay? Can I take you somewhere? You know what I mean? Today and tomorrow I have to do 40 kilometers each day. The last days getting into the town of Moshi were long, but my progress was becoming more obvious. Isn't that a welcome sight? Ooh. Walking through rural Tanzania really made me appreciate the everyday things that I was taking for granted. I literally just came to the first hotel available, literally as I hit the 40-kilometer mark. Online, it said it's 162,000. So I came here and I was expecting like some enormous price, and the moment she said 50,000, I was like, give me the key. I'm going straight upstairs. Check out the disco light the hotel has. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Today is a good day. At the end of the day, I'm seeing Viv for the first time in almost 2 weeks. I don't know if she's gonna do the mountain because she's struggling with her knee a lot. I didn't want to take that decision for her. I actually encouraged her not to do it. And I don't know what she decided. I don't think that she took that decision yet. I think she's waiting literally until today and tomorrow to see how she feels. After 11 days and like 365 kilometers walk, I finally got into Moshi. And I love when you get into a place that you read about for years and years and years. 2 weeks of going through villages. And you know what the first thing I'm gonna do is? Thank you. I'm on my way to the airport now to pick up finally Viv, who's arriving in about 1 hour from now. I am with my friend Ramadan.
Yes,
Yes.
we are coming.
Yes, we are coming. What would you say to people that want to visit Tanzania? What would you recommend for them to see?
There is a Ngorongoro Conservation Area. You will see the Maasai tribe will live with animals without any problem. Apart from that, we have Tarangire National Park. We have Serengeti National Park. The Serengeti National Park is the first national park in East Africa. You're welcome.
Everything is fine when Viv is back. How are you finding Tanzania?
It's amazing. Probably one of the most incredible, surreal places I've ever been.
Yeah, she absolutely loves it.
It's just so amazing. Look at these banana trees.
How are you finding kilometer 17 or 18 of going non-stop up a hill?
I have a newfound appreciation for what you've been doing for the last
12 days.
The heat is a factor that you don't really consider how much it actually impacts what you're doing
Yeah.
until you try and do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, well done you, honestly.
It's definitely hot. I just needed some bragging rights from Viv. This is why I was asking. After 11 days of walking alone, we did a walk to the entrance of the national park together. In typical Viv and Chris fashion, we got lost on the way. So, in summary, we have no idea where we're going, but we're following Google Maps. But after asking two local girls for directions, They ended up walking us right up to the entrance of the national park. On this walk, Viv told me that she decided she won't do the mountain in fear of making her knee worse. Even though this meant she would lose the deposit we put on the climb, we were happy we got to see each other, even if it was just for a day. After an hour of making plans for what she'll do while I was going to climb Kilimanjaro, we realized we didn't actually check the cancellation policy of our guiding company. When we looked, we learned that it was half of the total tour cost. To which Viv said,
F it, I guess I'm climbing Kilimanjaro. There's a lot of people.
And point of no return.
yeah.
بركان في دنيا هنانا بركان في دنيا هنانا